And it's going to be access codes and information that's going to help you make that leap, help you get on that bridge, help you get on that arch or that arc, right? The rainbow is an arch. And it's also, they talk about the ark of Noah, or Noah's ark. Well, just like there was an ark for the flood that was water, there's an ark as well for the fire, right? He said, in the last days, I'm going to destroy your flesh with fire. Well, there's going to be an ark in place for that too, but it's not a boat, right? It's not a boat. It's a frequency. It's a frequency. See, the Christ energy is a mental frequency. All things in the mind. It's all in the mind. See, tuning into this type of information, you get on the frequency a little bit. Not really, just a little bit. You really get on the frequency when you come out to the events. That's how you really get on. There's information in there that I don't even post in the members area. She record everything, but I don't put it all in there. You see? Anyway, moving forward, people, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Make sure you click the notification bell. It's going to be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Click that so you can be notified of all videos when they come out. Any more announcements? I think that's it for now. Look out for that coupon code. You want to save 20% and stock up. You want to definitely stock up at the end of this video. It'll be in the description. Okay, and that ends on Monday. All is in the mind. Yes, the universe is mental. That's a universal law. You can Google that. See, we got to move forward. Hit the like button. Let's move forward. Now, the extinction of the current human form. We have to go to the next level, people. This flesh is reached its expiration date. It no longer serves the purpose that we need. We growing out of it. Some of us are. And I'm going to take you through a trip of our past and help you see how we went through these chambers, how it's done. It's used up. See, even those people who've been here down here long enough, for at least 35, maybe 45, 50 years, you can see the energy is pretty much used up, especially from those people who are called the salt of the earth, the soul people, the Nagas, right? It's not the same level of pop in terms of creativity. You see, it's running out of energy. Look, higher mammals are what we are. We talk about reptilians, but we don't talk about the mammalians. We want to point fingers at the reptilians. How you know the reptilians ain't pointing fingers at you? Say, wow, those are the mammalians. They dangerous. Last time I checked, it's the mammalians that's killing up all the species on this planet, not the reptilians. Mammals. Man is a mammal, and he's a top-notch tertiary predator. He's the ultimate predator, which makes him the ultimate Luciferian. It is a fact. We not just kill animals, we breed them, keep them in the farm, and line them up to be killed. Is that a fact? See, we take whole species and take them off their natural trajectory of evolution, put them in a farm, right? Even plants. Some people say, well, I'm so happy I'm a vegetarian. No, plants are supposed to evolve as well. When you keep them in a farm and manipulate their genetics and crossbreed them, you manipulating their destiny. You keeping them locked in a particular form, which is a form of hell. It's a form of hell. So what would that make you if you are the caretaker of hell, right? You're the gardener. It's a little advanced, people. I should have put the one. I hope I put the one in the description, right? But like father, like son, we just like those beings that created us. So moving forward, people. By the way, this is your Anunnaki, just to remind you of your culture and your lineage. It's not all pretty. Some people might say, wow, the Anunnaki cloned us to be slaves. The Anunnaki came here to mine for gold and tried to destroy us in this particular flood and all of this. It is a fact. But if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Stop always looking for those things that are pretty. You got to know the whole story. Last time I checked, it's not just summer all the time. You also have winter, right? You're in the Far East. It's not just the dry season. You also have your monsoons or your rainy seasons. It's not daytime all the time. You also have nighttime. You must embrace it all to become holistic, to be whole, right? To become a God. You got to embrace it all. Yes, that is part of our physical lineage, right? We were merged from the Nephilim, from Nibiru, with Syrians, right? Also with the mammals that were naturally evolving on this planet. They were kidnapped and genetically modified to create man in our image and after our likeness. To be what? A slave. To be a slave. So as higher mammals, our strength is in our bodies. Should I say not in our bodies? As higher mammals, our strength is not in our bodies. We're not an ox or an ape. Not like that. We don't have the strength in our bodies. Our strength is in our ability to unify and to cooperate. That's the only reason why we're here, why we survived. Unify and cooperate. Based on being organized and having systems of order established and maintained by hierarchies of authority. Hierarchies of authority. You see it right now with the lower mammals. They have the alpha male. The lions got the alpha male. If you try to come on that pride and you are a male, you must want to fight, because this all my pride right here. So you challenging me. We gotta go to battle. This is how the genes stay strong. I'm gonna talk about competition. I'm gonna talk about warfare. All of these things are part of evolution that helps you become stronger, wiser, smarter, all of those things. That's why I say you gotta embrace it all. So we have hierarchies. We have kingships. See? And at the top of that hierarchy is God. Thank you for the generous donation. God is at the top he's the top notch. He's the highest authority. This is universal law. You see, without clear and respected authority, boundaries of order begin to break down and fall into chaos. Now we are out of our element, right? When there's chaos, lack of order, we can no longer cooperate and have proper unity. So we fall victim to attacks by animals. Back in primitive days, they would have to be attacked by animals. In fact, certain animals wouldn't even attack a human settlement if they smell that there's a lot of them. If the scent is too strong, the wolves and the hyenas and lions, they stay away, because they learn when there's a lot of humans, it's going to be trouble. But when the faint scent of a human, that means it's just one or a few, you can get attacked. That's why it's written, beware, Lucifer or Satan is like a roaring lion, seeketh whom he can devour. Why I keep talking about coming together over and over again. I guess that's why I call it preaching. You got to keep telling people this thing over and over and over and over. I'm not going to stop, because it's the facts, it's the truth. It ain't about me. There's power in numbers and in unity and cooperation. But when you don't have clear and respected authority in the home, clear and respected authority in the communities, in our nation, now you begin to fall into chaos. Just look at America. Look at the crime rate. Look at the economy. So chaos invites attack from the beast, and you become vulnerable. In ancient times, you become vulnerable to animals and wild beasts, right? Or opposing tribes. But in this last day and time, that can be the case as well, because China is just waiting, right or wrong. That dragon is waiting. All that is symbolic. Metaphysically, that dragon represents Kundalini. It represents a certain, not to go into that, but China is not our friend. Not our friend. Neither is Russia. And they don't take mess in China. You see? Look at some videos. Look at China's armies. See, we allowing homosexuals in our army. See? We got women in our army. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not your specialty. Your body wasn't built for war like that. Your body wasn't built to fight. If that's the case, let's let boxing be co-ed. and watch all the women get knocked out. No offense, but that's not your specialty. You see, we doing all of these things outside of divine order. When it comes to do battle, I don't know, right? I don't know. So in this modern world, we've also become vulnerable to the beast within, right? The beast within is because you don't have a culture of morality anymore, right? There's no roles. Everything is wishy-washy and blurred. It becomes a form of chaos and confusion. How many times did you go to a store and you don't know whether to say, thank you, sir, or thank you, ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am, or excuse me, sir, because you can't tell what the hell it is. Chaos and confusion. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. It's a fact. You can't tell what these beings are anymore because we live in a culture of chaos and confusion. It's getting worse. So selfishness begins to crop up. Lack of unity, backstabbing and gossip, conflict, greed, vindictiveness, manipulation, violence, cruelty, savagery. All because of the mere fact of lack of proper authority. Now, over the aeons of time, 4.4 million years to be exact, we had these different brains that began to develop. We had a male-oriented brain that had a neural network that specialized in certain things, and you had a female brain that had a neural network that was specialized to do certain things. The male brain evolved to be hardwired for hierarchies, authority, boundaries, right? They guard the boundaries, rules, dominance, and systems. Rules, dominance, and systems. All of these things are for protection and also provision, right? Hunting, you have to have strategy, right? The police or the ones who enforce the law in the settlements and in the tribe. Not talking about just giving the law. Law is nothing unless you get your ass whooped if you don't do it, right or wrong. You get the fine, you go to jail, you get executed, you get exiled. So you have to have the power to enforce the law. Do you follow me? We could talk all of my aunt stuff all day, but if there's no enforcement, people will run like a fool. Facts. The female brain was designed and evolved to be hardwired. The neural network for communication, being able to read people's faces. This is why women could read people better, because they had to be able to see if that child needed something, or see if somebody needed comforting so they could read you. Cooperation, connection. Women work best in groups. They're less autonomous. Nurturing, bonding, right? You got to bond with that child so that child can get the love, right? For the oxytocin and the dopamine, all these neurotransmitters that are needed for the child to develop a strong neural network, a strong, powerful brain. Did you know that? How much love a child gets is correlated to how intelligent they become, and less drama and stress, which you call issues, psychological issues. How many of us got psychological issues now because we didn't properly bond with our mother, male and female? See? The beast is trying to take that away, all for a purpose, moving forward. So bonding and community, communication, cooperation, nurturing, all of these things, just like your brain. You think you have one brain, you have two brains. You have a right hemisphere of the brain and you have a left hemisphere of the brain, and they cooperate through the corpus callosum that allow them to cooperate and do their job. They have opposite jobs. It's all symbolic of the male and female in reality. Your woman is supposed to operate as a specialty of your second half, just like you are to operate as a specialty of her second half. See, all reflected in the human brain. Now, what rises to dominance? Remember, males deal with dominance. This is why we fight. This is why some of my sons are like, yo, they fighting in the bathroom all the time. Why girls ain't play fighting all the time? Boys always got a slap box, always got to fight, and it's natural. There's nothing wrong with it. It all comes from our primal need to establish dominance. We got to find out who's the top dog around here. Sports. We're going to find out what the Falcons are doing, what the Giants are doing, whatever sports you watch, right? It's about dominance, boxing. I got the belt. I'm the world champion. Dominance. That's what we deal with. This is why guys got to test you. See? You get tested. See, women test you too. They trying to see who's dominant too. They got to find out who the dominant is too so they can mate with that individual. See? And by the way, alpha male has nothing to do with men. Women decide who the alpha male is. Women decide what genes they want to replicate from the most dominant and the most high value male in their environment. So the most sought after is the alpha, those characteristics. So the alpha brain evolved to systematize and organize human interaction. So it is cooperative and nurturing to the group. It provided the authority and the muscle and the enforcement of a system of cooperation. Somebody got to enforce the cooperation. Sometimes people just want to do what the hell they want to do, right or wrong. So the divine, masculine, alpha energy put things in divine order. See? It enforces cooperation. It enforces the unity. So it provides this authority. And this is the beginning of civilization. See, certain people you could talk to. This is the story of Osar. In the legend of, it's not really a legend, but in the history of the ancient lore of Kemet, there was just a bunch of scattered tribes and families. They didn't have civilization. They're always fighting amongst each other, bickering and fighting in battles, but they couldn't really evolve to the next level. To the extent that Osar came on the scene, who was a Christ figure. And what Osar did was he was able to have such a powerful word, right? That he was able to speak light into those tribes and say, look, instead of fighting amongst each other, this tribe is excellent craftsmen. You are excellent warriors. You are excellent in whatever it may be. Spirituality, hunters, right? Farmers. See, if we all work together and we have something called specialization of occupation, and everybody does their job, we can become greater than the sum of our parts. Some people listen. More people listen. See? Till finally the last straggler say, yo, we just might as well just join the nation. We might as well join Kemet because they working together and they have storehouses of wheat. They have all of this cattle. They have surplus of food because they're working together and they have cooperation. But we all know there's those people that have the genetics of being extremely disagreeable and susceptible to selfishness. And they're going to do things to undercut the unity. Selfishness, manipulation, vindictiveness, stealing, all of the things, negative aspects that the police have to check, right? Violence. So you have to have an energy, Herakahuti, right? That's going to enforce the law. That's going to chop off somebody's hand. You're going to go to the desert. You don't want to act right. You exile. You have to have that in place. And that is Herakahuti. The extreme form of it is a tyrant known as Set. See? Set, if you will. But you have to have this cooperation. And essentially, this is the bedrock of what civilization is. Civilization is a system of supporting our greatest strength, which is cooperation and unity, thus allowing us to have protection and safety, and ultimately peace. But it goes back to the enforcement of the law. It really goes back to truth, right? Universal law of truth, mathematics. Some people don't do math very well. We're going to help them out with a little Herakahuti, right or wrong. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some people, they gotta get it hammered in a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. They just have a different way of learning. They need hands-on experiences, right? So Herika Hootie put the hands on. So this gives us the protection from the wild beasts, from outside the tribe, also inside the tribe, and enforcing cooperation when needed. When needed. Some people gonna cut the line. If they're bullied, they just cut the line. Right? But we got to have somebody above that to check that. By the way, make sure you like and subscribe to the video right now. Like and subscribe. Let's get these likes up. I need 175 likes right now. Get them up. Get them up. I'll continue when we have 175 likes. 175. So we're going to go into how we went through all of these chambers, how we going through this transition time right now. And as individuals, we're going through this transition. You can feel it. And it's a reflection how we're going through it together. That's why we're all here together in these last days and time. Excellent. 194. I appreciate it. Continue to get the likes up. Now, we hear Naazir Ra always talk about the beast. I cringe a little bit when I hear it because it don't sound too politically correct, but I'm using the language of the scriptures. You see, part of my job is to speak the word in a way that people could hear it. So I have to use biblical terms. I have to use terms that you can identify with so people can say, yeah, I remember that. They can latch on to a little better. So I got to use a little Islam. I got to use a little Christianity and Hebrewism because that's what Western, as far as us being brought here as slaves, you know, we latched onto those three religions. So we have to use these words. But the beast is simply this, people. It just represents nature. It represents nature. Somebody say, wow, that's good, nature. Really? Well, nature is not all pleasant. Nature is not all for your eyes. Get out there in a tornado. Talking about being natural. Go out there in a tornado, in a hurricane. See? A volcanic eruption. You running from nature. I thought it's all about being natural. See? Roaches in your house. They natural. Why don't you just keep them in your house? Why are you killing them? Roaches and rats. In fact, the caveman was the most natural. A nasty, never washed their whole life, those Neanderthals in those caves. Their whole life, they were natural. Loving up on animals and stuff like that. Bestiality. That came natural to the beast man. So it's not about nature per se, because nature represents the primal forces of our environment. It's the basic. It's the base. It's the profane, not the profound. See, these forces pulsate through our being, for we have emerged and find our roots in nature and that which is primal and basic in terms of our flesh, that is of the earth. Like they say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. The flesh is tied to that basic primal form, that basic primal energy on this planet. These forces pulsate and circulate through our physical being and give us our human experience. Civilization is a human invention. It is not natural. Wow. Civilization ain't natural. See? Natural is behaving like animals. That's natural. Being a savage is pretty much natural. This is why the word teaches you supernatural, divine, cosmic, more pertinent and scientific, extraterrestrial. That means beyond Earth. When you say divine, you're saying extraterrestrial. When you say cosmic, you're saying extraterrestrial. That which is beyond the natural, beyond third density, beyond Earth. Civilization is not natural. It can be counterproductive to evolution. Now, it's not natural, but anything that gets out of balance, it becomes an impediment. See, civilization could reach such an apex that you begin to suppress so much of the primal. Now you start to cut into those things that make you powerful. Primal, powerful goes together. That's where your power comes from. See? And how it does it is because there's a lack of conflict and competition. Conflict and competition is what allows species to evolve. See? You evolve through challenging situations. You gain your stripes. Competition in business. This is why devices, the price comes down. The production efficiency gets better, right? All of these things get better because look, we in competition with somebody else. See? And for my single people out there, men and women, understand that you in competition. Understand that you in competition. It's a good thing. See? It's a good thing. If a certain thing is in demand, you got to become the prize. You got to become better. You have to make yourself and not just pretty skin deep. What can you do, right? Besides look pretty. See? But anyway, stress, competition, threats, conflict, problems, all of these things help us evolve. This is how animals evolve. It's because of lack of resources. So individuals in a population that can't compete, they die off before they can even reproduce. But those that are excellent and victorious, they get to pass on their genes to the next species or to the next generation. So the new generation now has those traits, and the cycle repeats, right? Those offspring that don't have the traits that are highly desirable to be successful in an environment, they get eaten up by other beings, other species, predators. It's a good thing. Sounds crazy? No, it's a fact. It's a good thing. And it's not just physical, it's spiritual. As above, so below. Everything works for God's plan. So we have these things in place in order to evolve and to grow. But what happens when there's too many rules, too many systems, too much authority, right? The environment becomes unnatural and sterile, void of adversity, void of growth. See? It becomes sterile. It becomes a farm. Didn't I tell you this realm is like a farm? Younger generation, they need everything to be handed on a silver platter. It got to be easy. How to work for 4 hours in a week and be a billionaire, right? How to look good and not put no effort into your hair, into your skin. It just got to be so damn easy. It's making you soft. It's making you weak. You get out of something what you put in. You put in nothing, you get nothing. You don't work, you don't eat. That's natural. All of the handouts, all the stuff, all that stuff is unnatural. It's chicken feed. You on a farm. Shout out to the stimulus package and all of this stuff. Free money. Now, prices through the roof. You throw out a bunch of $1 million everywhere, what you think the price of a loaf of bread gonna be? $89,000, right? Because money's everywhere. But yet we like free shit. Y'all got to become smarter. Yeah, you're going to get more money, but then we just going to raise the prices through the roof. Am I right or absolutely right? So in a farm, animals never evolve. But in the wild, they evolve. They have to. They don't have a choice or they will not exist. That species will not exist if it cannot adapt to its environment. But in a farm, the environment is controlled because you lined up to get slaughtered. What you see happening on this planet is going on a timeline for slavery. It's going on a timeline to be a form of the Matrix, pretty much. And if you begin to evolve and advance while on that farm, you get removed from the farm because they don't want it to become contagious. See, you get removed. You graduate, if you will. So too much authority or too much government creates slaves. This is why if I were to adhere to a political philosophy, it would be conservatism. It would not be liberalism. It would not be progressive. It would be small government, leave me alone. Hands off, right? We don't need control. We need a certain level of it, but too much of it, it becomes a farm. It becomes pretty much the government is like a parent. Talking about you must get a shot. Nigga, you ain't my daddy. I gotta get a shot. What you worried about me? So finally they can say, what else? Did you eat your vegetables? Right? And they encroaching on that to the extent now you get certain insurance discounts when you do this, and this. Government, when you do this. All of this is a form of excessive government, excessive authority. And it creates a slave. You are not here to think for me. You are not my God. This is why it's written in the book of Revelation, those who serve and obey the beast or worship the beast, because you bowing down to too much of this authority. The God is in you. The masses cease to evolve due to excessive artificial restraints. So it's like an invisible electric fence of the mind. You got these electric fences that prisons have. You get on that fence, it shock you. See? Imagine an invisible electric fence for your mind. And that's what the matrix is, if you will, as a metaphor. Humanity must choose what type of species it will become. Choice. Right? The present human form is expiring. We have to make some big choices. Where are we going as a species? And on a personal level, where are you going as an individual? What are you about? Really? Forget what you're seeing on TV and what they're pumping in these magazines and on social media, cancel culture. Forget all of that and look within. Look within. Even forget what Naazir Ra says. Look within and what resonates with you as a being. Take out a fresh blank sheet of white paper. What kind of being am I? What do I strive to become and exemplify? How would I like to shape and help mold the world into? What would I want to create and contribute to? What type of world? Deep penetrating questions. Because everything has an end. Where are we going from here? Your kids are growing up. They out the house. What are you going to do now? Where we going from here? A divorce, it's over. What's up? What you about? Where we going from here? You fired from your job, you quit your job. What's next on the list? What's on the menu? What's up? You got to ask yourself these things, because as we go into this new dawn, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out, because if you can't figure it out, somebody will figure it out for you, and you're going to become a slave and a drone in somebody else's reality. And just as we all will die, I will die, you will die, our physical flesh, so will humanity as we know it on a macro level. It's not lasting forever. It is swiftly passing away. In fact, if you turn to Genesis chapter 6, verse 3, it says, my soul shall not always strive with man, yet his days will be 120. My soul, is the Most High speaking, shall not always strive with man. It means you're not always going to have the soul of the Most High inside of man. But his days, or man's days, will be 120. Now, very rarely we hear of people living beyond 120. Very rarely. But we have to also understand that the gods, because truthfully, it's not God who said that. The correct translation is Elohim, which is gods in Genesis, the book of Bereshith. See, This is why your preacher needs to learn some Hebrew. I don't know the whole Hebrew language. He needs to know some Hebrew, right? Because when you come across somebody like Naazir Ra, I'm pointing out to you, you don't worship God. It is God's. Let us create man in our image and our likeness. We're talking about gods. In Hebrew, it is Elohim, which is plural. Elo, right, is singular, which later becomes your Allah, a derivative of the word. My point, and then El, right? My point is this. It's a group of entities, extraterrestrials, who are known as the Anunnaki, who have a lifespan of 33,000 years each, right? That's the lifespan in Earth years, right, of an Anunnaki, 33,000 years. So if we say that the individual only lives 120 years, Earth years, when we look at it in terms of Anunnaki and translate those years, you have 33,000 times 120. What's 33,000 times 120? And pull out your calculator. Come on, class, get with it. Pull out your phone. Your phone does everything but make pancakes. What's 33,000 times 120? I'm cracking the Bible wide open. And I'm going to use science to show and prove that it's all wise, right, and exact. Pull out your phone and do it, man. 33,000 times 120. What's the answer? Get the likes up while people figure it out. Get the likes up. Thank you, sister. 3,960,000 years. 3,960,000 years is rounded to 4 million years. Roughly 4 million years. Just now, 10 years ago approximately, I think it was 2009, they just found the oldest human remains, older than Lucy. Guess how old the bones were? 4 million years. That is when our first mammalian ancestors became sentient. Sentience resides in the cerebral cortex. Consciousness, self-awareness, reflective thought, imagination, planning, cooperation, and unity. All of these things are cerebral cortex. That was the spirit of God, metaphorically speaking, 4 million years ago, right? 33,000 times 120. See? So this is even older than the oldest bones. I remember when I was in school, everybody was talking about Lucy, the oldest bones. By the way, all these are females too. The oldest bones. Lucy, also found in Africa, right, was 1.2 million years younger than Ardi, right? Ardi. So this was some remains found in Ethiopia. See, all of the oldest remains are always going to be in Africa because this is where they had their settlements. This is where they created the first humans and where they spliced in the genetics from the Anunnaki and created human beings. Original man and original women, Africans, right? So Google it yourself. Don't believe me. Google how many years Anunnaki lived. 33,000. See? The Bible says, my spirit will not always strive for man. 120. 120 is earth years. Times that times the 33 gives you exactly 4 million years. How old is Ardi? 4 million years. The oldest bones found in Ethiopia. So apparently, if that's the case, that we're right at that critical time of the expiration of God's soul, or my soul shall not always be with man. When you lose your soul, what remains? Zombies, just walking automatons. What do we see today? Come on, baby. Y'all ready to build? Y'all better wake up and get up on this right knowledge. I'm surprised sometimes why people is like, you're not getting this type of information anyplace else. And this is the crumbs. Can you imagine Can you imagine what you would get if you came actual to the event? This information that comes down that they don't even give it to me until on that day. On that day. From time to time, it comes to even certain sisters. Certain sisters, they're more receptive. They get revelations right on the spot, because when all those people come together, it raises the frequency. It's like raising the antenna higher. You see them cell phone towers? They got to be high so they can reach all the frequencies. That's the same thing what happens when people come together. So, Ethiopia. My soul shall not always strive with man. It is written, when the salt of the earth loses its savor, salt is in the earth, it's primal. See? It's talking about the original people when they lose their soul. We don't have no salt, you don't have no flavor. It has no soul. See? This is why we see the lack of respect for authority and the lack of righteousness. Right? There's a lack of love for goodness and wholesome energy. I saw one metaphysical guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was just going on and on about how much he hated the Cosby Show, how much he hated Theo, how much he hated the whole energy. This is a beautiful black family, in prosperous, having good times, going through somewhat bad times, but getting over it, and there's a lesson in the story. Mom and dad climbing into bed together, kissing each other goodnight type of stuff. He said he hated the Cosby Show. The lack of love for goodness and wholesome things. You got people that you may even know, they turn their nose up when they see a woman who's submitting to her husband, saying she's gonna cook dinner, saying she's a housewife. They'll beat that shit up. But get out there and be a hoe. They'll thumb you up. Am I talking facts? Absolutely. You got people marching, right, in pride of being a slut. It's called the slut walk. The lack of all that is wholesome and good. Harlot energy, Jezebel energy, for she loves what God hates, and she hates what God loves. In the last days, the harlot rides the beast. There's a lack of real creativity. Just listen to the music. All them cats sound exactly the same. You're losing your soul. It's the end of time. Like you ever get a good milkshake and you trying to get every little bit of milkshake out. You just slurping on that thing, trying to get all that out. It's done. There's no more left. Individual thought. You stand out like a sore thumb if you don't go along with everybody else hearing on the news or whatever the cattle or the sheep are following. They can't even think for themselves. It's like a lobotomy. You know, when they used to call people insane and they put them in the psychiatric ward way back like 200 years ago, and they stick a knife into their head and scrape off their cerebral cortex. It's called a lobotomy. So they can just follow instructions and just be like a piece of meat, like an animal, less than an animal, just totally submissive and what's the word for it? Subjugated. Totally subjugated. Thank you for the generous donation. I appreciate it. Where are we going? Morality is going. I'll do whatever, man. If it's going to be a certain amount of money in it, right or wrong. I'm not in the underworld and things of this nature, drug dealing and pimping and hoeing and all this, but I hear that back in the days, people didn't snitch. Now, snitching is like the thing to do. There ain't nothing wrong with snitching. Even the gutter had a code. They don't even have a code in the gutter in the street life. Snitching is the thing to do. Gender gone. You can't tell who's who. Right? Family. The black community, especially lower class, if you know who your daddy is, it's like, what? You know your daddy? It's the last days and times. The soul of the Most High is fleeing from this planet. Wouldn't you? It's done. Ain't nothing left. So you got to find out where you're going to go, what you're going to do. This is why Revelation talks about people going to seek death. It becomes so pathetic and so foul that people say, I want to die. And these are the ones that have some remnants of goodness. They don't want to be here. They want to die, but they waited too long. They didn't wake up and cross the bridge. I'm going to tell you about the ark or the arch or the bridge, right? To get off that stream or that timeline and go to another timeline. We got to do that. That's what it's all about. And it's all in the mind. They straddled the fence. So they're going to seek to die. See, everything has an expiration date. You ever have a coupon code? Huh? You ever have you got to get your application in at a certain time, right? You got to catch the boat or catch the plane at a certain time. If not, it's done. The plane left, the train left. You missed the boat. You down here. That's a fact. We left that story in place to implant it in your subconscious mind that yes, time is running out. Time is running out. And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about y'all on this feed right now. Because you know better. And you heard the truth. You heard the word. And you chose to put other things before the kingdom or before your own salvation to get on the frequency. This video is nothing. I'm not giving you any how-tos. I'm telling you what's going on. The power is in how to do it. That's when we unleash our hidden what? Power. But there's always a grace, right? They say the Most High is the yielder and the most merciful of those who show mercy. And he knows what you know not. And he never leaves you without a warner and without a guide. There's always a ray of hope. And there's always angelic beings down here on assignment for their children. And that's where the timeline comes in. Now, I'm not going to talk religion right now in metaphors. I'm going to talk science. It's called quantum physics. It's called parallel Earth. It's a theory now, but it's really a law. On paper, parallel Earths exist mathematically. I don't have the time to give a whole lesson in physics, but please know that anything that is possible exists. Wrap your head around it. If it's possible, it exists. Any option, any choice. Was it a possibility? Just as an example, that when Europeans came to America, I always use this because it's a fantasy of mine. If the Europeans came to America, quote unquote, exploring, and the Native Americans chopped off all of their heads and saw who they were and what they were going to do to them, if their seers really had sight and they had the right enforcement in place, Heracahudi, we wouldn't have this world that we're living in today. But guess what? Their time was up too. My point is, if their time wasn't up, they would have had proper sight and they would have dealt with them the correct way. That was a form of an infection coming on this land. So what kind of world would it be if Europeans didn't conquer the whole world? Could have happened? Absolutely. Did it happen? Absolutely. Are we experiencing that timeline? No, because that's not your frequency. That's not your frequency. There's many timelines. There's many Earths. And between these timelines, there's bridges you can jump. Have a whole series in the members area. And that is your arc or your arch. You see, the rainbow is an arch. At the end of the rainbow, it's supposed to be a pot of what? Gold. Transformation. But in many ways, the rainbow itself is all gold, right? Because you get all those colors together, it vibrates on the frequency of white, right? White light. White light corresponds to the crown chakra, which also vibrates on the color gold. Or the color what? Purple. For those who recognize this arc, see, there's signs for those who have understanding. And really the Most High leaves no one in the dark. But the light is always shining, but some people are blind. They can't even see. So it's a great blessing for you to be able to see this light. But when you see the light, are you going to walk towards the light? That's the key. Or you're going to ignore it, turn your back on it. Right? It's about a mindset. It's how you think. It's certain things that you let into your consciousness, other things you ignore. It begins to reshape your reality and put you in a new world. This is what New Dawn transformation is all about. It is about that bridge or that arc or that arch. Not physical. It's vibrational, based on how you tune your mind. When you apply this information that you're going to learn when you come to the event in March. So we must become those Hebrews again. In my early day training, we were called Nubian Islamic Hebrews. Nubian was a play two ways. Nubian, because ancient Kem was actually the crown of Nubia. All of the royalty came from Nubia. They were Nubians. Facts. So we were Nubian, but also new beings. Islamic, right? By way of the word, not in terms of a religion, but in terms of Isalama, right? Walking and living in the realm of peace, which comes from right knowledge. When you know, there's no confusion and chaos. You could be at peace when you know. It's ignorance that brings chaos. Hebrews, which is really Ibre in the Hebrew language. It means those who crossed over in many ways. One way is crossing over from being an ignorant slave, Negro, right? To being an enlightened being. Crossing over. Number two, we are the ones who crossed over what? The Atlantic Ocean. As the sun shineth in the east, even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. It's talking about a group of people. We're Hebrews in that sense as well. But as I grab that baton and take it to the next level, we Hebrews a third way, because we crossing over off of this timeline. We getting out of this world. You follow me? So we must become those new beings living in peace who cross over. Nubian Islamic Hebrews. It's not religion. Ain't nothing religious about it. If you know how to decode, you see it's all nothing but right knowledge and science. You got to think different. When you think different, you become a new being. You become walking in peace. Musalama, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth. Musalama, one of peace. Hebrew, crossing over, transcending, ascending, by way of the right frequency in your being, which is your spirit, or your Ka, which is the Christ. The ancient Kemetic word for Christ is the Ka. Hence, we have unlocking the power of your Merkaba, your light body. You have to activate your light body. This is right knowledge, people. So, according to the legend and to the stories of the neophyte, the water religion aspect, the Hebrews were called Hebrew in the Bible because they crossed the Tigris-Euphrates River. They crossed the river. And those people on the other side say, wow, those people crossed the river and they had a settlement. And they say, well, we're going to call them those who crossed the river, or Ibre, or Hebrew. Metaphysically, Hebrews are those people who know how to cross timeline streams. Not no physical river. Everything is energy. They were travelers. They follow the Lamb wherever he goes. I can go on and on. If you're not traveling, you have no plans to get to a place where you're closer to this information, then you ain't gonna make it. Because it's all about getting to the honey if you a bee. It's all about getting to that sun if you're a plant. All those leaves praising to the sun. Got all their leaves praising Ra. They reaching and growing towards that light. Your hair knows better. What does your hair do as Nubians, as Nagas? Our hair grows up towards the light. It forms a crown. See? So, submission is what it's all about. They say Islam or Muslim is a person who submits to the will of Allah. Submission, that's the interpretation or the connotation. The denotation is one of peace. But submission and peace, those are the ones who inherit the earth. What is the new earth called? New Jerusalem. What does New Jerusalem mean? Daru, which means abode of salam, abode of peace. Who resides in a house of peace? None other than those who are peacemakers. You follow me? So this is what we must become. And this city of peace is attained by way of the Holy Soul, or the Christ, or the Ka. Do you now see how all of this comes together? It's all for our rise. We are the Hebrews. We are the true Christians. We are the true Muslims. Forget religion. Those people are on that frequency arc are the ones that's going to make it. Everybody else think it's some literal crap. This just keeps you on the matrix. But there's layers to the information. And I'm here to guide you through deeper layers of that information. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to skip the questions for tonight. It's getting late, but I do need you to take action right now and get your membership in place. And before you even do that, just think about what are you really doing? Like, why do you tune in? Like, what's your ultimate intent? If it's, I want to just see how much I can get without even joining because there's too much money. Well, just write that down and know and understand that you only get what you put in. And it's just a statement of what type of being you are. To me, that sounds like a parasite, because parasites live in your body and don't do anything to contribute to getting food themselves. They just want to sit in your gut and absorb nutrients that you got to work for and you got to chew up. You got to eat and digest it. And they just sitting in there like little worms, which they are, parasites, and eat the food and shit out and piss out toxins into your blood. If you want to be on that frequency and just get this information and don't contribute and don't join, just know that you're not too much different than those parasites. Shalom, Wadu. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate you. I still love you. Just like I say, hoes got to eat too. Parasites are part of nature too. But just know, it's kind of like, you know, if that's what you're doing, that's kind of what you are. If you like handouts, you don't want to help build. It is what it is, and you have your reward for that. But those who step up to their power say, you know, I don't like that. That's kind of true. I want to get the whole cake. It's not about loving me. It ain't for me. It's for you. You see? Render unto Caesar. You paying all the beast all your bills anyway. You see, we got these high credit card bills. We done ran up material things. Nothing for the kingdom, right? High what? Car notes and high, you know, you got to pay your student debt back from student loans. See, we render unto Caesar in that regard. But what are we doing to really, you know, invest in our transformation and in our power? Those Caesar notes are meaningless. They're pieces of paper. You need to find a way to transform that paper into real value. And I'm going to leave you with this and I'll let you go. That's what quantum leverage is all about. You have to understand true value. You have to understand the power of investing in yourself and on all levels, not just investing in, you know, crypto or precious metals or bullion or real estate, or even investing in your education, or it applies to it all. But when you hold on to the paper is nothing. The paper is supposed to be there for you to transform into something powerful. What are you transforming that meaningless paper into? These notes. It's a promise to pay note. See, every time you give a dollar to somebody, say, I'm going to promise to pay you. You're supposed to be giving that person what? Gold, right? That's the standard. So that's that, people. Shalom Wadu, thank you so much. Remember, after this video, I'm going to put into the description a coupon code for 20% off. For those people who like, wow, it's kind of, out of my budget. I don't talk like that, but for those who talk like that, oh, I can't. Okay, we're going to help you out a little bit. And that ends on Monday, 20% off. Shalom Wadu, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.